All right. Hey, we're back. It's
Yeah.
it feels like, it doesn't feel like a month. It feels like maybe 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks.
Somewhere in that general vicinity. But what it was is that European travel in the middle.
Yeah, I know. Have you repaired yourself from that? Joy and I were both at the ESPC 25 in Dublin,
Yeah.
Ireland. So earlier this month.
Yeah, I think I finally dried out and warmed up. I love that the one beautiful crystal clear day was a full conference day. So I caught a glimpse of the sun through the conference building windows and was like, well, that looks beautiful. Then by the time I looked again, it was 3:30 and the sun was setting. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
It was nice. No, I noticed a few times where the traditionally rainy atmosphere out there, while we were in the conference center and all the grand windows looking out the
Beautiful.
canal and all of that was gorgeous. That it looked beautiful outside, and then by the time we're like, all right, we're gonna go somewhere downtown. It's raining, drizzling as you're walking back to the hotel.
Friday was cray, but that's okay. It was an amazing conference. Shockingly, there was a lot of talk around AI. I don't know if you were prepared for that, but it was really good. Lots of good security content there, and conveniently enough, a lot of good governance conversations.
So we got the scores back for the sessions too. My governance session, was like overflowing in that room, couple hundred people at least in that session. I got a 9.33 out of 10.
But not a 9.34. I'm disappointed.
I know. Well, hey, my community building session got a 10 out of 10. So
okay, excellent.
So balances out,
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it was great. There were a lot of, I know you were having a lot of great governance discussions out in the hall, but it was a big topic. It came up. We celebrated. We did kind of an early birthday party for SharePoint's 25th, and I got to join Heather Cook. The two of us co-moderated a panel, and there was a bit of governance talk thrown in to that as well. You can't.
It's our time to shine, Christian. So exciting.
It is great. Well, welcome everyone to the episode 24 of Guardians of M365 Governance. Obviously, we're missing Ragnar. So some people just don't prioritize things,
Yeah, it was something about like customer meetings and
I know work-related things that pay the salary. I don't know, whatever it is. I'm not going to get into the details. But this series is a monthly webcast focused on the rapidly evolving and expanding Microsoft 365 governance story. We're dedicated to everything governance within Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So if you have questions or comments or thoughts or what
snarky remarks,
right, or how Joy should color her hair the next week. We were just talking about taking
the pink.
Yep. Anyway, you'll please comment. And for this 24th episode, Joy, why don't you introduce our guest?
Oh my goodness, I'm very excited for this conversation. So I have brought to the table, and I don't think he knew what he was getting into when he agreed, Jason Amgar. He is a friend and colleague and also a governance enthusiast. And I think one of my favorite things about Jason, other than his very nice haircut, is his passion for the human aspect of governance and AI readiness. So buckle up. This is going to be a good one. No pressure, Jason.
All right, well, bring him to stage and welcome, Jason. Hello.
I just hear that with the beautiful hair. Thank you so much.
Sleek and minimalistic.
It took me at least 2 hours this morning to get this ready just for you guys.
I know. Well, the nice thing too is like something happens, like somebody bumps into you, it gets messed up, stormy weather, you just buff it out. Yeah.
And we're back to 100%.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Joy and Christian. This is awesome. Joy, you reached out to me not too long ago, and I was like, I never turned down an opportunity to talk about governance, especially when it comes to AI. So bring the questions, bring the challenges. I am ready for what I signed up for, I think.
Well, I like this topic just because, and it is something that comes up again and again and again. And some people think that there's a trade-off between keeping your environment secure, compliant, and well governed, and adoption. And I think back to like the SharePoint days. One of the ways to keep it secure and compliant was to lock it down, not let. Funny thing happens when you lock it down completely is people don't use it.
Shocking.
They go around you. They go find another way to get their work done. And so you need to figure out a happy in between. And so that's really the topic today is we want adoption. We want usage. But we need to make sure that we are secure, compliant, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we do that? Is there a process, a method?
A magic sauce. So the line that I have that I like to sort of how I frame what we try and do and how we do it is, so governance isn't about slowing down, right? It's about creating guardrails that can scale innovation safely, right? Again, it's that balance, right? The thing is, what you realize that when users trust their environment and they realize that there are guardrails, they're more willing to innovate, right? If things are just wide open, they go crazy. And then that's a problem for them because then maybe one thing goes wrong and then you get pushback. I did something and it messed up. I don't want to touch this ever again, right? That's human nature. We get scared.
Yep.
It's our job, whether it's sysadmins, SIs, whoever, consultants, to help in these companies and create these guardrails that are just enough where we're kind of guiding the users to where we want them to go and allow them to scale the way we want them to go. So yes, it is a balancing act and it's not easy because you have the top who are like, we want this. The bottom who has no clue what's waiting for them and they're being told they need to start using AI. And then the poor IT in the middle was like, whoa, what do you mean? Give it to everybody. Give everyone a license. No. Like, turn it on. We can't do that. So this is the game, right? And I always say, governance isn't sexy. It's not. Nobody wants to talk about it. However, my belief is that with Copilot and AI adoption, now all of a sudden it's very interesting because now there is enough of a want to validate what we need to do to get to it. And so I'm finding myself in conversations where people starting with governance. A year ago, none of it. Today, how do we protect our environment? Because they understand legal liability, they understand risk, they understand exposure, and they understand that their employees have a ton of shadow IT. They're going everywhere and causing chaos. And they realize they need to reel it back in. So
yeah,
it's not easy, but that's kind of how it plays out, right? That's how we kind of try and balance it for everybody.
It is interesting. Christian and I were talking probably a year and a half, 2 years ago about we're brushing the dust off of some of our old ECM governance style content because it suddenly got thrust into the spotlight again because anyone that was watching knew this is going to be a train wreck. Yeah. If it's just like Delve in 2014, turn it on and people freak out. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
In fact, we refer to it as the Delve effect. What's going on?
I call it the Delve debacle.
Oh, I like that.
The
double D.
Yeah, the Delve debacle of 2014. But yeah, it's the exact same thing. But the fun thing then, we didn't have to have Delve, even though they didn't realize it was just search. So they didn't fix it. So now Copilot comes along and it's like,
well, they didn't go and like the underlying issues are that, I mean, it's just like when fast search was integrated in, we saw this back in the 2010 SharePoint era where organizations, and I heard customers that were coming to us, I was working for an ISV that did, governance administration and migration. And we'd hear this all the time of well, the search is broken. It's like, no, it's now working better. And so you don't have this security through obscurity, like where you just search wasn't working properly. And so you weren't aware that you had improper policies and classification. You didn't clean up your data the way that you're supposed to. And now it's surfacing all that data. So people would freak out and go turn Delve off, turn fast off, turn Delve off. The same thing happened. It's the same thing with Copilot. I think that my impression is more organizations, now that they're seeing it again, this is in my Microsoft ecosystem experience, the third time, Fast Delve, now Copilot, where it's surfacing the same information, and it's finally clicking with people saying that we need to go do some of this fundamental work.
I think a misconception too, that the way Copilot was brought to market and how companies misunderstood what it truly was. A lot of people just assumed it was a ChatGPT or just some sort of a chat interface. They didn't understand the depth of how it ties into your tenant and into your environment, and that it can see everything. And it was kind of like speed off, don't stop, don't collect $200, right? Monopoly, just keep going, go straight, don't look behind you. And then, you're 7 exits past, and now you stop and you're like, oh man, maybe we should have stopped those last 3 and refueled, or maybe paid attention. We're completely off path. The excitement around AI adoption and Copilot drove this culture of, it's so easy, let's just do it.
Right.
And that's not the case, right? Because the product thrives on governance. If you don't have it, it doesn't work. So the customers need to understand, well, you want this tool, why does it keep giving me a file from 2012? Why is it giving me Jeff's file? Why do you still have that file? And it's an education process that this is bigger than just a chat bar. This is really a very profound tool. And there are some steps. I call it out, but I like to blame a certain company a little bit for the marketing of the tool, that they made the shiny object seem a little too attainable. And I found myself in talking to partners in conflicting conversation where their expertise was being challenged when they brought up governance, because what they were seeing out there was, well, you just turn it on and use it and it does everything for you. And so it created this really weird dynamic. But now some people have learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Some people caught it early. Some people are learning from other people's mistakes. Now we're getting there.
Going back with a lot of this too. I mean, it's not like it just came out of the blue. Again, talking about Copilot, dropped on our lap. And, hey, there's this new capability, and it's opened it up. And Microsoft, why do you play? I mean, so much the conversation the last 10 years has been with their investments. I mean, they've been investing longer than that in AI. But all of the work that they did and all of the content around the Microsoft Graph and explaining how these pieces are connected, they were talking about cleaning up your data every step along the way.
But companies, they turn a blind eye, right?
Of course,
they don't pay attention.
They're focused on the features and all the rest of that. I mean, but that's been something that has been ongoing. So that's why, I mean, I had a conversation with 2 women at ESPC that came from the library sciences world.
Brilliant.
And it made me think of like hanging out with Sue Hanley at KM World 15 years ago, talking about this stuff. It's all of the same principles. It's talking with people. It's just, again, fascinating to go and talk with people that are in the legal world and where Office 365 and is like, it really kind of took off. It took a little bit longer in that sector. But they understand the governance around the long-term ownership of content and how some files, at least here in the U.S., depending on what they are, they need to legally be held for 7 to 10 years and then destroyed, completely physically destroyed all those records, and then the digital records from that, because otherwise it puts the companies, the law firms at risk by still having those documents. You get sued, you as a company get sued, even if there's content and then they put a legal hold on all of that. If you have old documents that should have been purged from your system and you did not take care of those, then they are free game to opened up to liability from that lawsuit. Just things like that.
Certain segments, like certain industries, get it a lot quicker. CPAs, accountants, law firms, anybody that lives in risk, I don't have to sell them on it. They're already living that day to day.
Technically, we all live in risk. I mean,
but they actually get it, right? Most companies maybe do, but it doesn't make sense to them. Like the risk of governance in IT doesn't somehow click. It doesn't connect. And so, we talk about, why people 3 times now, right? You said it. There's one event, second event, now we're in the third. And we're still running into tons and tons of businesses who haven't been doing it. And I think what might be causing it is, and like in anything, governance doesn't equal revenue. It equals potential loss. And their risk levels are determined by what they're willing to risk. Well, okay, well, there's a file there. They don't get it. And sometimes the people communicating it to them don't know how to talk business. And so they're going, you have to lock these files because there could be, and it's technical lingo. And the business person's like, okay, whatever, just leave it there. So they're not willing. But now again, because there's a shiny object, governance is, I don't want to say blocking them, but is kind of to use a tool that can make them more money, maybe be more profitable, more efficient. So now they're going, okay, we could do governance now because I really want that nice thing. And so now there's a reason for it. Whereas before it was like, well, the IT's like, we should really do this, guys. Yeah, I don't really care. Just put that folder somewhere, hide it. What? Can't do that. So now there's monetary motivation. And I think that's what's pushing the conversation. We really want this. We want to be an AI first company. We want to be a frontier company, right? We want to be ahead of the game. We know our competition's doing it. Okay, so what do we need to do, right? Well, you need governance. Do it. But I told you this 6 months ago. Yeah, but 6 months ago we weren't talking about AI.
Right.
Okay.
Shiny object.
Competitive advantage. Right? It's just weird. So it's human psychology, right? It's you're willing to bend more when there's something you want. And so here we are.
Yeah, and I think a lot of
we finally get to do the stuff we've been yelling and screaming about for years, right? With no pushback. So,
well, a big problem for this, and is again, organizations are not sure where to start, what to do. So their first thought is, well, let's lock everything down, and then we'll open things up as we start to understand them. But again, they don't really focus on that. So that I think that is where part of the confusion is of what does that actually look like for an organization that's up and running? They're struggling to get people to utilize the tools, and like what are your first steps? What's your guidance?
You can't just stop a company from functioning overnight. It's not realistic. Companies have massive amount of data. You can't just say, sorry guys, we've accepted the risk, shut everything down. Like that it doesn't make sense. You've already been living with this risk. We just need to start minimizing it and shrinking it down in phases to get you to a least risk situation. And so there's a lot of parallel work, right? One of the great things though, and I have to hand it to Microsoft for this, is the free version, the web grounded version of Copilot has become so massive. It is everywhere now. They just keep adding it. Now it's in Word, now it's in Excel, that while we're trying to fix the back end for the licensed version, the work grounded version, we can start keeping that excitement, right? We always talk about if you spend too much time on the governance, you're going to slow down excitement in the company. And people are going to be like, this is just taking forever. Like, why did we do this? We spent all this money on governance. We're still not using it. Some companies made the mistake of buying the full license. So now they're chasing this ROI on something they've invested in. So how do we make it a parallel story? Okay, guys, we can't lock it down. That's not. Let's analyze your ecosystem. Let's analyze your departments. Let's figure out which department we maybe want to start with. And let's just do them in phases. Let's train everybody on the free version, because honestly, you shouldn't be using a licensed version of Copilot if you haven't even learned how to use the basic version. Like the paid version is a bit more complex. So let's start training teams. Let's get the change management going. Let's get people excited. Let's get their hands on it so they can start feeling comfortable with it. That's going to take time. You're a large org. It could take months and months and months of training before you even have to worry about buying a license. Microsoft will tell you should buy the license right away. Don't. You don't need it right out of the gate. I don't care what anybody says. Start with the free version. Yeah. Don't invest preemptively because you got too excited. Big mistake. Also, side note, don't put your adoption into the hands of your IT department.
Preach.
Ever. Yeah. One, they will hate you for it. They will hate you a lot, and they will say things about you behind your back. It won't be good. They don't want to do it. If you go to them, C-level, and you say, "Hey, IT, Copilot, get everybody ready," this is not who they are. This is not what they signed up for.
They're gonna err on the side of, because they will likely own the governance, the policy.
Yes, but they're also being asked to train the staff.
Right.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Create the proper, let's segment, let's make IT feel good about this adoption by letting them know that we're going to put governance in place and you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to sleep at night. This isn't a nightmare waiting, but also keep the C-level super excited about this initiative. And then of course, bottom up, right? Those employees who they are the ones adopting. You have to convince Mike in finance why he needs this optional tool and why the company has decided this is not a necessity, not yet anyways. Maybe down the road. For now, it's optional. So we get back to the governance of how do you balance that? Well, let's keep the people excited. Let's get them playing with the tools. Let's keep that web grounded free license. Let's get them learning and understanding. And then let's start segment by segment. You cannot just say, we're just going to clean up your entire tenant. Now, there are some great tools out there who do a very good job of giving a nice overarching view and giving you a plan. But realistically, you don't want to wait a year before you're actually leveraging the tool. You want to start sooner than later, so you're excited about it. So I like to go by groups. I like to say, okay, where do we see the most potential value? You guys feel that maybe finance, let's analyze that. Let's look at the usage metrics. Let's go into your tenant. Let's see what your users are actually doing. Because the department you think might not be the one that actually is ready to adopt sooner than later. Let's look what they're doing. Oh, look at this department. They've already all been playing with chat. They seem more prone. It isn't about the ROI in the department. It's about the adoption and the excitement of the users in the department, and that will kind of spread across the company.
Building your
right?
champion.
If you're focused on which company is going to give me a return if they use it, those might not be the right people to create that enthusiasm and become those champions. So this is very mental. You have to focus on who are the people that will go around going, "Oh my God, this changed my life. This is amazing." And then, so department by department, let's clean up. Right? You can remove everything out of Copilot, right? There are some great free tools out there to just say, Copilot cannot see anything but this site. And that's a good start, right? Microsoft has put out some pretty nice tools to say, let's start with you guys. Let's clean you up. Do you have sensitivity labels? Do you have all those things? How? Let's do child searches. Every time you search, you have the wrong thing. Well, that's because of these things. IT. It's a team effort. Everybody needs to feel empowered and feel like they're responsible for what they like. And then it becomes this really nice joint effort. That human first approach, Joy, that you mentioned at the beginning, it's the people. They need to feel happy about this. They need to feel that it's going to help them innovate, help them feel confident. And if all you're doing is just shoving down governance, or get it, the scales are off balance. It doesn't make sense. And so it's getting this feeling of community, if you will.
I know that there's a lot of companies that make the mistake too. They're out. They might go out and pilot, as you said, because I agree. I think where I've seen it the most successful is when you make it organic. So you don't just assign the licenses. You let people come in that like opt into it. And one client that I was working with, they would even have anybody that could request it. They had to explain how, why, which forced them to go and understand, here's how I'm actually using it. And here's the ROI, here's the use cases, here's the different scenarios. And they would then learn from each other. And we helped create content for them so that they could see other scenarios. Because another part of adoption where organizations where it might be slow is because I use this phrase all the time. It's like, people use technology through the lens of their understanding. If you expand their understanding of what's possible, they start going, oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't know that. And so if
we don't know what we don't know.
Right. So if you're able to go in, like, that's why I love, creating content around specific roles. Like, I've worked historically with very project-centric organizations, a lot of project management, business, analysts, data analysts, and DBAs, and engineers. But you had these defined categories of roles, around each one of them. And you then start saying, like, hey, if you're a project manager, here's 20 different ways, different scenarios and things that PMs can go and do. And there's a lot of overlap. Just because you put a PM title on it doesn't mean that anyone else can go and use that. But you start putting in those work scenarios, and it opens up people's minds to understand, like, oh,
what's in it?
Yeah. And you're like, yes,
how it could apply
cool.
that. So as we did that and built scenarios, we saw more and more adoption and more people requesting it. For this client, we did this. It was a relatively short project, a couple months. We saw over 400% growth. They were thrilled with that. Because we kept it organic. We showed them. They had to then justify it. So there's that accountability aspect of it. They brought it in. Now, along the way, we had those conversations, and then we would go in and talk about, it's like, well, here's why we have this locked down. Here's why you're trying to do something and that's not working. Here's what we're doing and why. And we tried to work with the client, and have done this at other organizations, where we make governance a conversation throughout, because it's another just truth out there, is that when you involve people in the process, they're more likely to follow that process. If you make it this silo that they have no voice within, they'll rebel, they'll push back against that.
Office hours, right? Those are super key. Having that champion group, right? Start with that small group of really power use, those who really get it, get them together, get them talking together. Again, that human first approach, right? Make them feel like what they're going to do, it matters. That they're not just being told, again, go do this and this is why, but if they're involved, we're just more naturally inclined to want to invest because we feel connected. Same way that some companies will say, hey, we'll give stock options, right? We'll do this. If you feel you have some sort of ownership in the company or something, you're more inclined to work and want it because there is some sort of direct investment. And so we want to be involved, but often we're just told, no, right? This is where you are and this is how you need to do it. So I really like that story. That's a cool approach.
You can do something as simple as create a SharePoint agent. And again, IT, the governance board, can control the content that's in there. But if you've got one place that explains all of those things, and any unanswered question, it automatically then generates a ticket for, here's a question where there was not an answer in our documentation. And again, you make it's like the a suggestion box in the lunchroom that no one ever reads. It's never in a timely. Like, bring that into the modern age and put that at the forefront of, like, every 2 weeks you're doing your governance and your adoption strategy meeting. It's open to anybody to go in and watch that, and you're reading through, okay, here's the feedback, here's the questions that were asked, here's what we're doing about that.
I think we need to trust our people more in an organization. I think we need to give more credit to the people that are working and doing their jobs, and be more willing to listen to them and less willing to tell them, right? As in terms of leadership, what can you tell me in your job? And that's what we do. We come in and we're like, hey, talk to me about your job for the next 30, 40 minutes. And my job is to listen and then to figure out what you don't know and how to make the story work for you. You're in HR. What does your flow look like? What does that look like? Right. And I always tell people, right, unlike everything else, AI adoption is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you have to be willing to lock in for the long haul, because it will take time in larger organizations. Anyway, smaller ones, it can be really quick. But in general, it's ongoing. It's cultural shift, right? Starting from the top, right? You have to accept. And we have these conversations with C-level, and I'm like, okay, you want this. Why do you want it? I have to challenge them. Who told you? Well, my buddy at the, no. Why do you want it? I want to hear your words. Do you even know? Are you following the train? Are you like, what is the reasoning? And then I get them thinking, because once there's the why, right? That why is important. Once you have your belief, and now you can start instilling that belief, and then you can start getting your employees involved into that belief. Now you have a really cool system going, because people are buying into it, not just because they're being told it's another tool, but because they're following the belief. The very Apple, right? Talk about the golden circle, Simon Sinek, all that stuff, right? Really cool stuff. The why. It talks to the human in us. And so, governance is the harder why, but it is actually one of the most important ones at the end of the day. So phased approach, like you said, use cases, and taking your time. Guys, you're not falling behind. This is so new still. I tell customers, stop feeling like if you don't somehow do this tomorrow, that you're going to lose millions of dollars over it. Relax. We're in the infancy of it. You're already ahead of most orgs, so it's okay. Slow and steady. You're going to get there in the right way. And everybody else, like the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race. Take your time, guys. Because one mess up, one file that leaks out, will completely destroy the entire adoption. That will, like a virus, it will spread and people will panic. One thing at a time, right? Reel them back in from the excitement. Keep them excited, but it's a hot air balloon. It's not a jet. You're gonna get there a little slower, but you'll get there.
Jason, we've got just a couple minutes left here, and I just was wondering, when you think about the idea of accelerating adoption, I mean, do you have specific things that come to mind? We think if you talk to an organization that says, because I hear versions of this, like, this is too slow, we need to do this, and there are different drivers for that. Again, historically, it could be because, well, we're paying for multiple license types, we want to consolidate, we want to drive people to this. But when you think of accelerating adoption, like, what comes to mind?
I mean, there's so many variables. It's a tough question. It's a really good question, but because everybody has their reasoning for wanting to go faster, right? And often it's to their fault, but we can't just throw that in their face. Listen, you bought 150 licenses. Nobody asked you to, but here we are. Again, I can't fix that for you. So for me, driving adoption is having a clear path, a clear strategy, having the right people in place, having the right buy-in from the right people in the right departments. And just, even if you take a little bit at the beginning and just properly build out that adoption and structure it, it's inertia. It just kind of goes. And I've seen this where it started off slow and people are like, this is not moving. And I'm like, hold. The engines are warming up. Hold, right? But stay true. Keep your governance in check. Keep your employees excited about it. Keep them learning. And it creates this really cool ripple effect of they start talking to each other. They start exchanging ideas. You start seeing this really cool dynamic happen in orgs where people are becoming innovative. Like, look, I did this thing, right? Give them the tools. Teach them how to use it properly. Put in your guardrails as you go. It can only go so fast. There's too many. You can't just say, I want to go 150. Sorry, your engine's not built for that. We could do 80 for a while. And so acceleration is really, well, I have my renewals coming up. I understand. So let's look at what that timeline is and let's see what we can get done. And sometimes it's not all doable. I'm very transparent with customers. Sometimes what you're asking, your want, just doesn't make sense. And I'm not going to speed you through it and risk failure. So we got to keep people in check. But keep people excited, but do your due diligence on the back end and make sure that those environments you're creating for them will create the optimized responses so that they don't feel like it's a frustrating tool. So it's a very parallel. You guys are doing this, let's make sure that's governed. You guys are doing this, make sure it's governed, and scale it. And it'll replicate and it'll move. Small companies can do it really quickly. Small tenant. Large companies, listen, it took you 1.5 years to sign my quote. Gonna take a look. right? Your pipeline took 1.5 years because you had 17 people to sign off. Guess what?
Well, there's the speed of IT and the speed of end users, and then there's the speed of finance.
It's too much, right? There's like all these different things. So it's trying to get everybody on board. But I think the more in unison you can get the company, and the more, and make sure that the decision makers are involved in those office hours. Make sure that they're present. I think it is the responsibility of C-level that if you're going to throw an initiative in your employees' faces, be present for it and don't hand it off. Be there. Be that guiding light for your team to say, I believe in this and I'm in it with you guys until it happens, and we're going to do it together. And I promise you that will change how your employees feel about adopting it.
For sure.
Those are my kind of last words. If you're C-level, be present in the change. And then you'll see a big difference in how people go about it.
I do like where you started too, because if you don't at the very outset, no matter what the methodology, like it's a common denominator, like every methodology that I've come across across various technology stacks. if you don't have a clear understanding of what it is you're trying to accomplish, like that at the start of all of this, and communicate that out and have discussions around that, then you could be going down the wrong direction with everything else that you're doing.
So alignment, right? Alignment on belief and vision. Make sure the right people are involved across all the departments. Make sure your managers are involved. The more people are in it, the more they will feel like they want, because now they're invested, and there's, so it can't just be do this. Okay, here's a bunch of licensing, which is what we saw, right? Final notes for me is let's buy licensing, IT, assign licensing to everybody. The amount of companies I talked to, like, yeah, I got this Copilot license this week. I have no idea what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then like, well, why are they using it? What do you mean? So they should just use it. No.
In what way?
Okay. So here we are, but I think it's an exciting time, guys. I think this is so much fun. I think AI is so incredible. It's changing so much so quickly, and we're still so early in the game, which kind of makes it interesting of what we're going to see over the next few years. But take your time. Everybody has to run their own race, I think.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Yeah, I like that.
And look, you don't have to sell us on that aspect here at the show, because we talk about this all the time. But it's kind of back to the title. I mean, governance as an accelerator is that you really can't run fast if you don't know what the constraints are around you. It's like once you get that clarified and defined, like then it's like, all right, open up, like let loose inside that. Here are the constraints. We have to work within this, but that. And now
we know our maximum speed, and here is that. Let's go full speed in this. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so I think it's key. I mean, Joy will, and everyone will speak to this, but governance is so important with AI, and it really has to be one of the first things. Once you understand it, even before you start talking about it internally, let's do that assessment. Let's analyze. Let's understand what your reality is, because if you jump too quick and you start getting people involved and you get that pushback. Let's stay behind the scenes. Let's figure it out, and let's create those lanes and their maximum speeds within those guardrails. Okay, this department has 3 lanes at 100. Cool, we're good with that. This department, unfortunately, has 2 lanes at 50. All right, well, that's their max, but at least everybody's right. And then you get this really cool, everybody's kind of moving at their own speed, but they're all moving. And that's what's important. We're moving. No one's standing still, and that's key. So if people stand still, it gets boring, and people want to back up. So,
if I can quote the famous philosophers Ren and Stimpy,
always
nice. That curveballed me. Nice one. I'm listening.
Yeah, we're not hitchhiking anymore. We're riding.
I like it.
So, hey, Jason, really appreciate your time today. Joining the show.
Thank you so much. Awesome. I really. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. This is awesome. I love what you guys are doing. So,
and of course, we'll have all of Jason's contact info out there on YouTube and on the blog posts and through social media. And I know that we're, I'm doing the web stuff. Ragnar's publishing the podcast, which is getting great numbers as well. So, lots of traction there, and it's great to see you and talk.
Yeah,
Christian, thank you. Joy, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Right.
Let me know when you dye your hair.
Yeah, keep you posted.
No time soon for me.
You can come up with that number.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you next. We'll be back in January. We're already talking. We've got multiple folks that are.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays.
Yes.
Get it all out there. It's coming up. 14 days, 15 days. It's right around the corner.
All right. See you, everybody, later. Bye.
Bye.